Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European Crossover webinar. And we did see a pretty big reaction from yesterday's CPI report. We actually have, PPI out due today at 8:30 Eastern. And we did want to get CPI out of the UK about 2 hours ago. And that came in at up 0.5. Boy, dramatic change compared to the U.S. And actually, PPI came out at the same time. That came in down 0.1. And 1 hour ago, we did get Spanish CPI, which came in up 0.5. And then at the top of this next hour, we'll have industrial production. As I said, when we come to the States, we'll have PPI. That's expected to be, holy smokes, 5.1%. Oh, but that's year over year. So month over month, up 0.5. And Canadian manufacturing sales will be also out at 8:30 Eastern. That's up 1%. We do have Bank of Canada today. But other than PPI, which will be huge in the States, if you look at it on the backdrop of the CPI, that'll be it for economic data. We will have crude oil data out at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll take a look at where we stand here. Quick recap. Now, Euro did make new lows yesterday, lowest lows since April, and we are trading in a very, very, very tight range here. See, with those new lows, lowest since early April. Okay, well, just a tad bit higher. Same thing in a rather restrictive range. Aussie. And dollar yen after 3 successive up days, just trade gently lower. And the cash dollar index, same thing here after challenging that 92.83. Actually, the best close inversely compared to the euro, the best close since early April. And gold continues to remain pinned at that 1818 area. Just can't get past it. And then crude oil still hold up relatively well up here at 75. We did make it up to 75.50 yesterday. I think we had 75.20 as our bias chart resistance. We made it up to 75.20, 75.50, which is that next level, and then we kind of faded back. You're not seeing that as easily as when we're looking on this daily chart. But we can get to that. Taking a look at where we stand here, this is just on the S&Ps. We did go and come back off a bit. Looks like we made a little run up in here to 43.66, 43.63. We're paring back a bit here. And we'll just want to jump into it now. I did move things around just a little bit. It makes it easier just to see these two things on the same screen as opposed to separate screens. I do like to keep this, even though, as I told you before, this is just a data feed. This is my data feed. But I do like this because I like to have be able to see where the volume is and how much we have on the tape. Yesterday was pretty significant. Like when we late yesterday in S&Ps, there was a 600 sitting on the bid, over 600 sitting on the bid at 43.60, and then the market came down, kind of tagged it, bounced back up to like 43.63, came back down, bounced a little bit again, and then finally it pushed through the 43.60. That's what I like to. I like to do. I like to keep both those up. Sometimes I'll switch it out if I'm trying to follow crude. As I said, now we have those micro crude oil features. I'm thinking that's going to bring a lot of volatility, but focus is still remain as we are standing with these indices. So kind of not paid as much attention. But you can see here we made it up to 75.50 yesterday. Here in the crude oil market before paring back a little bit. We're here at 74.97. Makes it a lot easier actually to have both of them here. I'm saying is especially let's say if the S&Ps makes it easier to see both these, especially on the release of an economic report. See what they're doing at the same time, as opposed to trying to go back and forth between individual screens. So let's go and get started with the euro. We'll just keep it on this screen. So with the strong U.S. CPI release on Tuesday, the euro finished at the lowest price since early April. And we're going to take a little closer look there. And you can see we have to go all the way back to April to see this low close. And that was the lowest as we broke yesterday. Down here. Support for Wednesday will be 1748. Well, we're nowhere close at. But on the release of the PPI, maybe we'll still smoke them down there to 1748 with resistance at 1824. So let's take a look. There's a 1748 there. See, that pulls all the way over from here. Look at that. So looking at 1748. You can see Nasdaq paring back a little bit. After we dipped down there and found that 1742 in Asia, and then we came back and revisited down here. Then we made new highs, not new highs, but rebound high here. And here we are dipping back here. But we'll get to that. So 1748 and 1824. Moving on to cable. So cable closed lower on Tuesday on the backdraft of the U.S. CPI data, but managed to defend 3,800. Resistance for Wednesday will be 3842. Holy smokes, that's right where we're at. Actually, they moved up a little bit higher. Was supported 3771. So let's take a look at this on a 2-hour. That's where I derived that 3842 at. And there we go. There's the 3842. We should see a little even higher than that. It's actually 38.45 coming across here on the 2 hour. More of these. And that's actually right there, that level. That's actually 38.45, not 38.42. So there it is, 38.45. And what did I say for support? 37.74. Let's go move into the Aussie dollar. So the Aussie closed lower on Tuesday. Let's see here on Tuesday, but managed to defend the 74.27 area. 74.27. That's a big weekly level. Defend the weekly level of 74.27. Resistance from Wednesday will be 75.07 with support at 74.14. 74.14. So. Obviously still bearish. And that'll take us into the dollar yen. So the dollar yen posted a third straight day of ascent, or third successive climb, closing above 1060. Resistance for Wednesday will be 1070 with support at 1029. What was the high? 1068. Okay. 1070. And I think we said 1029. 1029. Okay. And let's go move on to the cash dollar index. So the cash dollar index saw a solid gain, closing at its best level since early April. As I said, an inverse relationship to the euro, which traded at its lowest level since early April. But the dollar index saw a solid gain, closing at its best level since early April. Immediate resistance is going to be 92.83, which is where we're at earlier when we popped up in here, followed by 93.19. Never know, maybe we'll jump up there if we get this PPI data comes in pretty bad. If it does, support will be 92.32. So 92.32. And 92.82. There we go. That was a little bit higher. Let's see, 93.19. There we go. Okay, it's this low right there. See that wick? There's 93.09. And this one up here, see this high here kind of touches that wick above it, and this wick here, right there, that'd be 93.12. Let's try for 93.12. I don't know, it came up with 93.19. 93.12. And with that, let's go and move into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin continues to seep lower. Obviously, we're looking here on the daily. Support remains 31,578, which is this level right here, with a break lower, taking the market down to the 30-minute support level of 29,204. So if we go to 30-minute, oh, there's where we're at. There's 29,204. And we didn't get resistance. Let's take a look at resistance. It's 32,880. Let's take a look at 200 chart. Right there. $32,562. 32,547. And with that, we'll move into the S&Ps. As I was saying, makes it easier to see it here. Here's a look at the daily. So the S&P futures closed negative on Tuesday, just below Friday's close. Here's Friday's close right here, and you can see that low just below that. Actually, a little bit lower. Actually, it's below the open. You see it down here. So we did close lower. Below Friday's close, support remains 43.43, which is what we've had here, 43.43, followed by 43.27. Resistance will be 43.68. Taking a look at here on the 2-hour chart, there's the 43.68. That would be resistance. And actually, earlier we was at 42.63.5 or something. So 42.68 is resistance. We can take a look at the let's see here we stand. We'll look at the full session. It's 43.65 from this one here. Volume point of control from yesterday comes in right there, 43.67, which is where we ran out of gas earlier. We'll stick with that 43.68. Obviously, we already mentioned the 43, 43.43. Here's 43.44, which is the value area low from from Friday. And there, remember I touched that 43.27. So if we were to break lower, we'd be looking for 43.27. And let's go move into the Nasdaq. You can see yesterday's daily bar here. We did talk about, and I did share that also. If you look at the close that we had, look at the 2-hour chart. Every time we've ever had over the last few months, a hammer, we've seen solid rallies. Every time they've dropped back for these hammers, see right here, they run you the heck over. They come right back and quickly, the same thing right here, moving higher, moving higher. This was the first one that we've seen. If you look at this hammer right there, we came back and then we failed, and that point to a much lower pullback here. Well, we saw the same thing yesterday. We had a hammer. Looks like we're going to take off. We come up here and we quickly fail. So in order to invalidate that, as I shared that, we had to get a close above 14.913. They actually rallied back to 14.910 before coming back, and we're doing the same thing here. We'll see what transpires here. Take a look at the profile. Well, the midpoint RTH is 14.914. There's that key level that I'm telling you about right there. You see 14.914. This case is 14.913. Take a look at the full session. So intraday, if it pops up, the key is the 14.9142H close, but we'll have resistance at 14.928. Also, if you look on the daily, $14.918 was 161%. So the resistance can be 14.928. If for some reason the data comes out whatever and they decide to run up there, 14.928. On the downside, give me 14.783. Let's take a look at this. We stand here. There's 14.800 there. Yeah, looks like right here, 14.736 confluences with the value area high here. And let's go. We've got 14.783 here. You always get those overshoots. The midpoint is 14.750. Here's 740. 768 here. Here's 734. Let's just go with 14.740. Okay. Point of control yesterday was 811. And right here, 802. Let's go with 802. Let's go move into gold now. So remains capped at 1818. Support will be 1802. We've already gone over this a plethora of times. This 1818 is the volume weighted average price from the March lows. It's now working as resistance. A daily close above 1824 does open up a challenge to 1873, and support's going to be 1802. And lastly, with crude oil, so crude reached 75.50. You can see that right there. We had 75.20, I think, is our resistance yesterday. No, we had 75.11. Okay, so it got to 75.50. Before paring back slightly. Support for Wednesday will be 74.50 with resistance at 75.30. And there we have it. So we'll get the bias chart posted in the room, and thanks for joining us here in the European Crossover.